Welcome, everybody, to Bleav in Chargers. It is officially playoff week. Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs, Lorenzo Neal. It's time, man. Listen, the Chargers, last time we were talking, were rolling, and they lose to Denver, but that's not the biggest storyline. Tons to discuss, Lorenzo. First and foremost, how was your weekend, my friend?
It was great. It was absolutely amazing. One word, legendary. Got to see a lot of great football games. Got to watch a lot of games. Watch Philly was able to hold the number one seed, trying to hold off the Niners. Got to see a Jacksonville, Tennessee battle, two teams that went out. I thought that was a great playoff game. I didn't think the game was going to have that much theatrics. I didn't think that was going to be a good game. That was a physical football game. I love what I got to see there. I love watching Cincinnati, the coin flip. Okay, really? You guys called, so they were disappointed about how everything shook out. So making that point, just good football. You watched Seattle and in the Rams, good football game. It was some good football. The Steelers continued to play well, even though they're not in the playoffs. So I'm telling you, yesterday and this past week, it's just been great football.
It was fantastic football. And folks, if you're just getting started on your football ventures, go over to our sponsors at betonline.ag. It's time for the playoffs. It's the sports bettor's dream. Go over to our friends at BetOnline. Use promo code Bleav. That's BLEAV for $50 off your first welcome bonus. You got Super Bowl odds. You got futures. We got fantastic wild card weekend capped off with Cowboys Buccaneers on Monday night. You know what I'm going to be doing this week? And I ain't going to be seeing nobody. I'm going to be sitting on my couch and watching football, and I am very, very excited to do so, Lorenzo. No, we're here to talk about the Chargers, however. Coming into yesterday's game, we're 10-6. They were running a 4-game win streak, and after the early window, the Chargers had known that they were going to be the 5th seed, regardless of what was going to happen in the Denver game. Yet, Brandon Staley decided to play all of his starters, sure, but then he decided to play all the starters deep into the fourth quarter, resulting into a loss. First off and foremost, Lorenzo Neal, we're going to talk about the injuries. What were your thoughts on that, seeing that as from a fan perspective of the starters playing this amount of time in this game that had no seeding implication?
Yeah, with no seeding implication, man, just an outside guy looking in, and it's tough for me because I like Staley. I've had an opportunity to meet him and talk with him. Love what he's doing and love what he's building down there in LA as a team. He does want a tough team. I do like some of the messages that he has. I think this was one that I'm going to look back and I'm second guessing already. I'm looking at this and I think, hey, the Chargers were already stuck at the 5 or 6 seed. Was it the 5? 5, right?
5. Yeah.
They were already at 5. They couldn't improve, and we knew that going into the game. I looked at it several ways. If I was the coach, for me, I would have kept 10. He wouldn't have been on the plane. I would have had Bosa, possibly Khalil Mack, several of my guys that I know that I needed. My receivers, Keenan, running backs, I wouldn't have had them travel. And you're like, Lo, what the hell? You need team commodity. I wouldn't have had them travel because I would have said, because you're going to dinner, you're going to Denver, altitude. What do I need to travel? What do you need to travel? Or what do you need to go on a road for and travel? And why do you need to take those guys? Because I looked at it as why? For what? You're going to go on a road. You don't need to. You could have left them up because you're going to have to go to Jacksonville, right? Now that's going to be a 3-hour. You're going to fly over to a 3-hour flight, change the time zone. So I would have just been like, look, kept in that situation because it wasn't good for the men. Now you're going to get player to play a Jacksonville team that's physical. You're going to be playing them. You're going to be playing them, and now you're going to have to travel. And if you decide to play them, I understand, Coach. Well, why would you just play them maybe the first half, or maybe even just the first quarter? And that's the thing. If you decide to play them, okay, fine. Use it as a preseason game. You want to keep some time in, but to put those men and put their bodies through that, because to me, I would have used this week, knowing where I am being seated and knowing that my chances really wasn't going to get any better. I knew that I was going to have to travel. There was no way that I wasn't going to travel. It's no way pretty much that I wasn't going to be, playing on the road. I would have used this past week as a bye week, meaning I would have practiced. My practice schedule would have been 1 day for Tennessee, and I would have had 3 days for Jacksonville because I thought they were going to win that game. And then I would have used it as a bye week. And then next week, you're coming in instead of and not even work on Denver. That's how I would have used it. I would have saved my guys, and maybe he did that. But I don't know why he played those guys that long. I really don't.
Yeah, and Brandon Staley had mentioned other teams playing their guys, but he didn't mention the duration of it. You saw Tom Brady; he played what 3, 4 drives in that Falcons game. Then they yanked him because that game had no matter. There was no reason except we want to continue this win streak. I guess is the reason he left some of these guys in it. And Brandon Staley, for the first time all year long, I'm not sure if you saw his presser, but he was visibly angry, and the media was getting to him, and they asked him, if the Ravens game impacted anything about his coaching process heading into this game. And Brandon Staley said, quote, no. We felt like the process that we would take, regardless if the Ravens had won or lost, we knew what our plan was going into the game, and I thought we executed it today, which was very interesting because the process should have changed, right? As soon as the Ravens lost, this game was meaningless for the Chargers. It was absolutely meaningless for the Chargers. And so it's weird. Again, Brandon Staley said we were, quote, we were trying to compete in the game, and we only have 48 guys on the team that are active for the game. Well, coach, you only need 22 of those guys on the field, right? But Staley said, quote, and so we wanted to make sure that they went a good ways into the football game and competed at a high level, and then we felt like it was right for them to get out of the game. Okay, sure, it happened. What was the result of that? Well, Mike Williams had to get carted off with a back injury. Kenneth Murray had a stinger. Joey Bosa called for, though Brandon Staley said nothing's wrong with Joey post game. So these are some core pieces. Now, we had some good updates today hearing Chargers fans that Mike Williams should be okay, should be ready to go on Saturday. Same with Bosa, same with Murray. But Lorenzo, as a former player, if this is happening, if this was you and your teammates, would you be talking about this behind closed doors with your teammates saying, why the heck are we playing? Would that happen?
If it was me, I don't know if I would have said anything to the coach, but if it was me or maybe the LT and Phillip and those guys at that time, I don't know. I think that if once that seed was there, I think that they would have been like, "Hey, look, why are we playing?" And I think that you would have had a guy, and I don't know if there's guys on that team to say, "Coach, pull them out. Coach, we don't need to be playing right now. It's over." In Tennessee, think, "Hey, coach, when Baltimore lost and they were losing that game, I don't know if you're starting. You say, Coach, man, hey, I don't know if this is worth it." Because I think he's that type of guy. I think if you had someone go up or 5 deuce with one of them and say, "Coach, man, pull these dudes. We should not be playing. We got a short week. We're gonna have to go to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's gonna be a physical game. Jacksonville's playing. They're one of the hottest teams in the AFC, just like we are. Because we're gonna need all hands on deck. We should not be playing guys that don't need you playing." Someone needed to go and talk to him because I'm just telling you, it to me, or at least one quarter, it should have been like a preseason or dress rehearsal. It was no need for you to put 4 quarters of wear and tear on these guys' body. Why? What it had no, it was nothing but just a record, padding your stats. Why? What did you do you think? And my question to Brandon State, Coach Staley is like, do you think your team got better by playing that football game? Do you think your team physically got better by playing that game? And if not, how much did you set them back? That's the question, man, because I'm telling you, you're playing a physical, tough, you're going on the road, playing a tough Jacksonville team that spanked you last time. Wouldn't you want to go in there fresh? I know I would.
Absolutely. No, I could not agree more, Lorenzo, Neal. And again, it's weird because Staley said if you look at teams across the league, they also played their guys deep into games. Brandon Staley literally said that. But when you look across the league and teams that were locked in the playoff seeding, two teams that come to my mind are the New York Giants, who were locked into the 6th seed, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were locked into the 4th seed. You take a look at the New York Giants, Daniel Jones didn't play, Saquon Barkley didn't play, Andrew Thomas didn't play, Kayvon Thibodeau didn't play, Dexter Lawrence didn't play, all their big guns didn't play. You take a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady was pulled in the second quarter, same with receiver Chris Godwin and Levante David. So we hear those things from Brandon Staley, yet those things aren't true. I mean, these guys aren't playing around the league. The thing is, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Coach Staley. Heck, I'm no one to be mad at him. I'm just an average Joe. But it's weird when we're not consistent with what we're saying and what our takes are. At the end of the day, Chargers fans, Lorenzo, listen to the stat. The Chargers are undefeated this year when Keenan Allen and both Mike Williams start a game and finish a game. So we're going to hope that they can both start and finish the game this Saturday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is. They got through it. It looks like they're going to avoid it. You're hoping it looks like they're going to avoid any significant injuries. And here we go now, Lorenzo. Jacksonville on Saturday. Give me your initial thoughts on this football game. It should be an interesting one. Saturday night on NBC.
I think it's going to be a very physical game, and I hope that Staley didn't. I hope that the Chargers are able to meet with it because it's going to be a tough order. They're playing a Jacksonville team that's hot just like they are. You look at you look at the Dallas Cowboys. They played and had some playoff implications, and they played their guys, and they haven't been playing well. So you want to play them to try to say, let's try to get some type of rhythm. Guys, we're going to the playoffs wounded and not on a good with not a good taste. You look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia had to play because of the fact they were trying to hold the number one seed. Once Philadelphia knew that the game was over, did you see how Nicky Bosa rather for the Niners? They pulled him. They start pulling starters. Trent Williams didn't play the second and third half. Like this, what you're talking about. Once Kyle Shanahan knew that the game was in hand, then he said, "Look," and he had more to lose because he could have lost the number 2 seed. Yeah. And you saw the way that he played and pulled guys after the game was in hand. So it's going to be a good game. Jacksonville's playing well. Jacksonville's a hot team. Jacksonville, they Bleav that they're good enough. They're going to make some noise. This is going to be a great out. It's going to be a great challenge. You know what? I got to ride with Justin Herbert. He's going to have to bring his A game, and it's going to have to be as fine as hour. And I'm going to tell you right now, they got to contain the quarterback. Jacksonville quarterback, he doesn't get the credit he deserves with the things he can do outside the pocket and moving, running with his legs and making things happen. He's throwing the barrel very, very well. I think that this is going to be a very, very even matchup. Probably Jacksonville was, what is it, 3? Jacksonville plus 3?
Yeah, Chargers are -1. Jacksonville's +1. It's basically a coin flip.
Wow, I'm kind of shocked. I thought that would be like Jacksonville -2, 2.5. I thought that you would give them an edge because you would give them home field, and I would give them the edge because of the fact that last time we played, Jacksonville kind of spanked the Chargers and beat up on them this year. I know a lot of the guys weren't there, but it still wasn't a good outing. What say you?
Yeah, this is such a tough game to pick, right? Obviously, we're Chargers fans. We're going to choose our team. But if you're an unbiased person in the NFL, this is the one game I probably wouldn't touch. I mean, this is a game that's very, very tough to predict. It can truly go either way. If the Chargers are able to establish an identity running the football, I think they're going to win this football game pretty easily. But also, Jacksonville has such a high, potent offensive attack. They've won, 5 straight games, Neal? They've won 5 straight games from a 4-8 start to now a 9-8 in division title. Trevor Lawrence's first playoff game. Justin Herbert's first playoff game. What you got to think of something that's going to, cause imbalance. Well, Doug Peterson, he's coached his team to a Super Bowl. He's coached very, very deep into January, into February. Brandon Staley, he's making his playoff debut. So the Jaguars likely have a coaching edge. The defenses are pretty interesting because Jacksonville's defense has ramped it up a little bit. The Chargers defense was really great over the last month, but they did take a step back yesterday. They looked like the Chargers defense of old yesterday, which is kind of tough heading into Jacksonville. Is the defense going to be able to bounce back and have a big-time performance? At the end of the day, I have no idea about this game. I got no idea. This is a game that can go either way, man. It's going to be a hell of a game, and I have zero inclination as who's going to win this one. I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville won. I wouldn't be surprised if Chargers won.
Yes, I'm saying there's two games. There's 2 games I feel like that with. You got me?
Yeah.
You still got me or no? Okay.
Yes, sir.
There's 2 games that I feel that way. There's 2 games that I feel the same way you do. It's Jacksonville and the Chargers. And what would be your second game? Do you think that you feel that I don't have no clue what's going to happen?
Is it Dallas Tampa Bay?
You had to
Dallas
yes!
Tampa Bay.
Yes, you got me. Hey, Border, me and you were thinking, hey, we're on the same page. This is great. This means we've come a long ways during this season. Now you're thinking like the big Lolo, so I can appreciate that. Those are 2 games that I wouldn't touch, brother. I wouldn't touch because Dallas is showing you the inconsistency. So is Tampa Bay. Tampa's at home. You don't know where Dallas is, and you don't know Dak Prescott. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to this whole coaching staff for the Dallas Cowboys with the head coach if Tampa finds a way to win this game. So those 2 games I wouldn't touch. The other ones, I think it's pretty clear. I think the Bills going to win that game. You look at the Niners. The Niners should win that game. You think about who else as far as different teams that are playing. But I think Tennessee.
I think the Giants. I think the Giants could beat Minnesota. I think the Giants can go to Minnesota and win that football game.
Yeah, that's another one. That's a good call. That's a good call. That's a good call. Cincinnati's gonna beat Baltimore. Baltimore just doesn't have enough weapons. And Baltimore, anything about Baltimore, I mean, Baltimore's quarterback,
Lamar.
he's not going to play.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he could be healthy. Lamar Jackson's not even going to think about it. Lamar showed what he meant to the team by when he's healthy. And Lamar Jackson saying, forget you guys. You don't want to pay me? Lamar Jackson would be a fool to go out there and play on Sunday. You hear me? An absolute fool. I don't think he's playing. I don't think he's going to even try to play. I think that he's playing a game that, hey, no, I got to wait the free agency. I think that Baltimore is going to get smoked. If you said which game is going to be the worst loss, it's the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson proved his point, right? He proved his point. A lot of people saw Tyler Huntley play last year, and they were like, oh, this guy's great. Lamar Jackson isn't as replaceable. What happens when Tyler Huntley plays? What happens when Anthony Brown Jr. plays? Lamar Jackson's just smiling, giggling in the corner, saying, woo, I'm about to get 200 million reasons to smile guaranteed this offseason. Because if it ain't going to be from Baltimore, it's going to be from somebody. Because there are a lot of teams in the National Football League who are in dire need of a quarterback. Let's talk about the Raiders. Let's talk about the Panthers. Let's talk about the Saints. Let's talk about the Jets. Heck, even the Dolphins. And it goes on. The Lions, the Texans. It goes on and on and on. And there's only so many blue chip quarterback prospects in the draft with C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young and maybe some other guys. Will Levis from Kentucky. But come on. I mean, if Lamar Jackson's on the market, there's going to be some team that gives this guy the goods. And if Deshaun Watson got what he got, Lamar Jackson's going to start giggling, man. I'm telling you, Baltimore is a great Super Bowl contender with them and their mediocrity without him. And that's a kind word talking about the Ravens. So, I mean, we're not here to talk about Lamar, but you hit it right on the head. Why would he play? Why would he play on Sunday? No, he's not going to play.
No.
Yeah.
And then we're talking. Hey, look, we both understand what the Chargers need to do. They're going to have to keep with quarterback. We got to keep him in the pocket. The Chargers know they can't give up a lot of yards on the ground. And the biggest thing, the Chargers can't lose the turnover battle. I mean, I know we can bounce around the league, and the fans want to know what is Eckler? Is Eckler going to be able to establish the run? Are they going to be able to establish the run with the Chargers running backs? What's going to happen with Herbert? Is Herbert going to be, of course he's been playing, good ball, but want him to be safe with the ball. You can't turn the ball over. Eat it. Take a sack. Don't throw it. Don't throw the ball away. Because if you start spotting Jacksonville 14 points and you start turning the ball over, this game will get ugly. I'm telling you, this game will get ugly if they can pin their ears back. The Chargers have to be in a situation where they're going to say, let's play field position football. Let's play big boy football. Staley can't be aggressive as he usually is and be like Riverboat Ron. He can't do it. He's got to give these guys an opportunity to win. The whole week this week is about mental focus, one play at a time, and it's about consistency. It's about do your job, stay consistent, don't turn the ball over. Telling the quarterback, take what the defense gives you. If you can't, if there's nowhere to go, take the sack. We'll punt. We'll live the fight on another day. That's the Chargers mentality. That's what I want to see. I want to see a team that's going to take what they give them. I want to see a team that's going to be aggressive but yet cautious. I want to see a team that's going to still try to establish the run and run with efficiency. And I want to see the defense keep this quarterback in the pocket. Do not let him have over 20 yards rushing. If the Chargers hold this guy under 20 yards rushing, they win. If they can hold, because I'm telling you, if this guy's got 60, 70 yards rushing, 56, then he's scrambled and he's made too many plays. You got to hold him under 20 yards. If they can do that, man, I like their chances because I'm telling you, this is going to be a defensive battle. I know everyone talks about these offenses, how powerful they are, but I think it's still going to be a defensive battle.
Lorenzo, it's also important to note too, like this is a rare quarterback battle that's going to be so awesome to watch in the postseason. Like there's been a lot of turnover of veteran quarterbacks, but we're getting two young stars, in this battle between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert. And a lot of people were doubting Trevor Lawrence. He kind of clicked the last 2 months of the year, and you started to see him finally come to fruition of who people expected him to be. But listen, Herbert and Lawrence, they mirror each other on the field. They're very similar. They're both tall, they're long, they're pocket passers. They have the arm talent to throw all over the field, although Justin Herbert has a different level of arm strength than Trevor Lawrence. Both are athletic. They can make plays out of the pocket. Both players carry an immense load as far as the offense functioning through them. Both the Jaguars and Chargers, they asked their quarterbacks to be primary playmakers within their offense. So this should set the stage low for a game that reminds people why this game is so beautiful and so awesome. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see, again, as you said, how the outcome. I have another injury nugget to point out for you Chargers fans. Brandon Staley said that starting left tackle Lorenzo, Rashawn Slater, is making progress. Staley said, quote, "I am proud of the way he has come back and worked hard to give himself a chance to play." Imagine if Slater came back this weekend against Jacksonville. No one's talking about Slater. He's been out since week 3 with a torn bicep, Lorenzo Neal. If Slater came back, that's a difference maker, huh?
Oh, difference maker is an understatement. I wouldn't play him. I don't think it's worth the risk. Isn't worth the reward. No, I just think that, you know what, maybe it was a Super Bowl if you got to, because that still gives you another month. Well, you think about, it's that tendon you just went and surgically, it's attached it back. You get that you're going to be going against a lot of shock and a lot of force. I know you put a strap in there to make sure you don't get it gone too far. But it's just tough because you can rip that back off the bone or do some other stuff with that pec and that stuff. So I just don't know. It'd be really tough for me to play and hedge that, because if he strains that or tears that, now you set back and he's not getting ready for the regular season next year, and now it's going to be something that could be reoccurring. So I ride with what I have. I look at it and say, hey, look, this is going to be about elite quarterback play. Like you just said, you have two quarterbacks. The quarterback that plays the best is going to win this game. You know that, Borna, just as well as I know that. The quarterback that plays the best wins this game. Now, if you look at around the league, it's not like that for San Francisco. It's not that way for certain teams. You look at Dallas, the quarterback doesn't have, because they got an elite running team when they can run and do the certain things. But yeah, but now when you're talking about these two teams, which quarterback is going to play the best is going to win that game. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because Herbert understands where he's at, and so does Jacksonville quarterback. He understands where he's at. So it's Trevor. We're going to see. This is truly for Trevor Lawrence and for him to go head to head, and we're going to see, because these two quarterbacks are the future for the next 10 years. We think without a doubt, if you talk about the young quarterbacks, these are the top 5 young quarterbacks. Herbert, Trevor. You look at what Cincinnati has in Cincinnati. You think about Mahomes and Josh Allen. So you think about these young quarterbacks, so these guys are in that conversation. They're definitely in that conversation.
Absolutely. I'm so pumped. It's going to be a hell of a freaking game. I'm showing our viewers who are watching on YouTube and the internet, these were the scenes of Mike Williams, man. I mean, it's just absolutely brutal when you see a picture like this, right? I mean, this is a guy who I think a lot of teammates are questioning this. And I want to continue to talk about this, Lorenzo, because injury happens. They're inevitable in the sport. But you have guys like Gerald Everett saying, in the post game, it hurts. It's demoralizing. It's something that gets you a little emotional. Because, what kills me is it didn't have to be this way. And this team this one's making me a little angry, because, this is one where the Chargers are significantly a different team without Mike Williams. I mean, it's not even close. Because not only it's Keenan Allen's impact, but it's what they're able to do off one another, and they're not allowing corner staff to double Keenan Allen. So you have a guy, you injure Mike Williams in a game where it doesn't even matter, it just fires me up. And I know we talked about this, but man, the Chargers have no shot in Jacksonville if Mike Williams doesn't play. To be honest with you, they don't got a chance in Jacksonville if Mike Williams doesn't play, and it's just self-inflicted. And again, I'm not putting anyone on blast, but what makes me more angry is the fact that we're not taking accountability in the postgame. We're not taking any accountability. Where you were saying we're saying it's hindsight bias. We're saying, you know what, I would have done the same thing, even though we knew the game didn't matter. Help me not sound crazy.
Yeah. Man, you don't sound crazy.
What are we doing?
Hey, brother, you don't sound crazy at all. And that's the thing. You do not sound crazy. Looking at those images and seeing a guy that what he brings to the table, just made your stomach curl, because you know what Mike can do. The guy, he's big, he's physical, he brings another dimension. He helps open up Keenan, and those two together, this team is a lot better. So don't think that Staley didn't think about it last night. Don't think that he's being questioned. Don't think that he understands. And if he had to do it again, I'm going to tell you right now, he wouldn't do it again. He would not play those guys that long, and he shouldn't have played them that long. And he knows that. Now he's going to say the right things, and he has to. He's a head coach. He's going to say, look, I did what I needed to do. But let me tell you something. Not on a short week, and you got to travel 3 time zones. You got to travel to Baltimore. Got to travel to Jacksonville, where they're 3 hours ahead of you. So now you got to realize it's good. It's a late game, but you got to realize you're throwing guys off. You got a short week. You're playing on Saturday, right?
Saturday night. Yeah.
You're a Saturday night game. So It's a short week. So now you got to realize guys are sore. You played a physical Denver team, Denver that was playing very, very hard, and you took a lot of beatings. So I just don't know what the thought process. I mean, I understand what he's saying, but my thought process would be like, I would never do that to my men, knowing that I have a short week and they got to travel that far and play another physical football game.
Absolutely. And Chargers fans, I don't want to, be a negative Nancy because the Chargers made the playoffs. And we have to understand that. Let's end on a positive note before we head out of here. They weathered the storm more than any captain in the entire National Football League this year. This was the most injured team. They were missing 11 of their 22 starters for 8, 9, 10 games of the year. They weathered that storm more than anyone could have. So let's not remember that they should be presenting a major issue to a lot of teams in this league. We must talk about the Chargers. They are extremely dangerous. Those are the real things. The only question marks is the consistency, and that's been something that's been lacking all year. But Lorenzo and I both know that this team has a Super Bowl ceiling. We've seen them play very, very well against some really, really good teams, but we've seen them play bad, very poorly against some bad teams. Well, none of that matters anymore. The last 4 or 5 months, it doesn't matter anymore. It's a clean season, all right? The Chargers got to win 3 games to find themselves in the Super Bowl. 3 games. That's it. They got to win a wild card game. They got to win a divisional game. Then they got to win a conference championship game, and they're in the Super Bowl. 3 games, Lorenzo, and then they got most of their pieces back. It's all in front of them, and I think the easiest thing is to the toughest thing is throw away what happened yesterday, gather all the troops, and let's go to battle. Because listen, they're not going to have to play in the cold, right? They're going to Florida, all right? That's pro. That's good for them. They're not going to have to play in the cold. They're going to have to play against an inexperienced quarterback who's never touched foot on postseason grass. Those are all the good things, Lorenzo, Neal. Listen, the Chargers, if they were to tell you right now that they wouldn't win the AFC West and they had to go to Jacksonville, the wild card round, they would have taken it, huh? If you really think about it.
Yeah, and here's the deal. You just hit the nail on the head. That's the thing that you love. You're playing in a warm place, Jacksonville, so that's going to be great. Not freezing. You have an opportunity to go out there and show what you can do. I just like to see them go fully loaded. I like to see hopefully Mike Evans and the team, Bosa, and everyone's healthy and ready to go. I like to see them play well. I wish that this was a Sunday night. Hell, I wish this was a Monday night game because I want to see guys healthy. I wish they would have got the Monday night game because, like I said, you just got finished playing a physical game. And you know that the first 48 hours, that's why Monday you come in for a walkthrough. Tuesday, Tuesday's the day that you're off. Wednesday, you start putting in the run game, Thursday that. But you're traveling probably Thursday or maybe even Friday. And you're probably traveling Thursday or Friday. So how much are you really getting in? That's why I hope that, and I think he did. Staley's a smart guy. You prepared for Jacksonville last week just in case that you were going to be a Thursday game. A Saturday game, because that's how I was doing. If I was the head coach, which I'm not, I would have said last week would have been a heavy deal of Jacksonville because I would have played the odds that you're going to be at Jacksonville. I would have had one practice doubled for Tennessee, and then I would have had 3 days prepared for Jacksonville. And now the 2 days that you had for Jacksonville, think about usually you play on Sunday, so you have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So now last week you already got into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because you was preparing for them, and now this would have gave you 2 extra days to prepare for Jacksonville, so you're ahead of the curve. That's my train of thought. So it's still, and I think Staley probably did that. I just hope that the guys are able to execute the plan and they're healthy. If they're healthy and everyone's well, I like the Chargers. I like the Chargers in a doozy. I like the Chargers in the last second win, last drive play, last 2-minute drive. I think this game's going to come down to which team has the ball last. I really believe this is going to be that type of football game.
I want to say one more thing before we sign off here. Guys, the Chargers are winning in the special team battle right now. Their kicker, Cameron Dicker, is nails. I mean, they finally, it seems like forever, they finally got a guy who can kick. Lorenzo, I want another chance and go to Kansas City. I just want one more chance against those guys because the 2 times the Chargers have played him, and over in Justin Herbert's career when he's played Kansas City, I know he's beat him once when he's played him, I think 4 or 5 times, but I just feel that this Charger team, they could break through against Kansas City. The Chiefs are going to be on a bye week. You can always catch a number 1 seed flat-footed maybe in the first quarter of that divisional game, right? Usually that 1 seed sometimes comes out flat-footed, and they're going to be at home. And I think the Chargers have been so close twice against Kansas City. If they can get through Jacksonville, I think the Chiefs are on upset alert. I really do. And I just lost Lorenzo there, guys. And I think he was going to say something very passionate about Kansas City, but just echoing on my sentiment, I'll relate it to the Chiefs. It's like we're right there. And think about the San Diego Padres, right? They didn't beat the Dodgers in a series all year long. They finally get them in the postseason, and they put them away. And I really do feel the same sentiment with the Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. You just got to find a way to get through Jacksonville, and they certainly can. You hope Mike Williams is ready to go. You hope these guys are ready to go, and then it's set up for the duel, right? Herbert Mahomes, the divisional round at Arrowhead, right? Mahomes has gone the better of Justin Herbert in his young career, but Herbert has already proven he's gone to Arrowhead and he's won there twice. Sure, first time in his rookie season, albeit it wasn't that important. It was week 18, but that second time it was week number 2, I believe, in 2022, and Herbert in 21, Herbert goes to Kansas City and they win a big time football game. They've done it, and I think they can do it before. I had mentioned it that they're going to be coming off a bye week, Kansas City. This is the time for the Chargers to go on a little run here. Now, the main story of this show was Mike Williams, the injury, the handling of it, the coaching, and the decision-making. While that is remained to be discussion, we're going to find out over these next few days if Mike Williams will be playing for the Chargers this Saturday against the Jags after undergoing a back injury. We know that's been a problem. We know Staley regrets it, even though he won't admit it. That is the situation, Chargers fans. Listen, that was Lorenzo Neal. I'm Born in Azari. We're going to have you covered on a special edition of Bleav in Chargers on Saturday as the Chargers go to Jacksonville. Should be a big one, everybody. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button on YouTube. And I'm signing out. Peace.